So what are you doing on these scales?
So I do scales on one string, and I try to use those positions very high because they are very uncomfortable. I like to do different speeds because it really builds the strength in your hand, I would say. Like what I those exercises I did, they are actually very painful. I mean, it's like if you do a workout,
Yeah.
you sweat and you really have a hard time, but after it feels really good.
Yeah.
And for me, those scales and those things, they are like workouts for my
Yeah.
hands, my arms, because I noticed I didn't have a lot of strength. I was very tired after one movement of a sonata or one movement of concerto, and I thought, oh my God, how is it possible to play a full concerto without being tired? And
Yeah.
I take that as a workout because you need energy and you need, yeah, muscles at some point. By doing that, like different speeds, you also practice different things. So maybe the slower part is really to focus on the fingers and like the intonation, and then the faster it gets, it also includes like yeah, how to manage the bow. And I notice that I often have trouble with that.
Have you ever done some sort of exercises out of the violin to like
Mhm.
build muscle? Have
Oh
you?
yeah, I do. Well, I do a lot of yoga. Yeah, workout. I do push-ups, those kind of things.
Yeah.
You know.
How does it apply directly to the violin? Sometimes, do you have some muscles you feel are not strong enough, and you're like, okay, I'm going to try some exercises out
Oh,
of the
yeah, this
violin?
I had that, but more for the arms. So yeah, I'm doing some exercises for the shoulders and. But you know what? I remember when I was practicing the presto of the first Bach sonata,
Yeah.
my right hand was really hurting, like by doing all this détaché.
Because
Right.
also you need to be holding the weight of the
Exactly.
arm.
Sometimes the reason why I had pain in my arm was because I was very tense. Violin is such a unnatural
Yeah.
position, you know, that it's very easy to get tensed and then to have pain. But by
Yeah.
finding a good posture, then it helps to release some tension.
I have a question about the
Yeah.
fingered octaves actually. What do you find them useful for?
I think it helps for the extension. I mean, I feel that finger octaves, they naturally enlarge the shape of your hands, so that's
Yeah.
why I like to practice them. Sometimes I like to find fingerings that just uses this kind of movement
Motion. Yeah.
instead of changing strings.
It made me think because you were talking about all the pieces that you were practicing. Because what's your schedule like?
I'm still trying to figure out how to practice a lot of pieces at the same time. Always like start with technique and then one or two pieces in the morning, and then I try to practice a little bit of everything. Yeah, I have to be able to practice few pieces at the same time, and I find it quite challenging actually.
Do you have to practice for orchestra?
I definitely need to practice my parts because there are really challenging things in the first violin, like really high and exposed, and I'm not a good side reader. I think I try to improve. I think experience helps, but I can tell you I spent hours on Marvel 9 because it was so hard, especially the first time you play it. It's like,
How is practice different for you when it comes to orchestra
yeah.
or, concertos?
Oh, it's totally different. Last year I was preparing for the competition,
Yeah.
and like I had every day orchestra rehearsal in the morning, and then
Wow.
the afternoon and the evening I had to practice my things. Because
Yeah.
when you're in orchestra, you tend to not lose your sound, but it's so different that suddenly when you have to play Tchaikovsky or Sibelius, then you need to really play fortissimo sometimes. My teacher, he's also in the orchestra, and he says that he does scales like before the orchestra rehearsal, in the pause, in the break, and after to clean. This is an excerpt of Prokofiev concerto number 1, the last movement. I like sometimes to put some excerpts of pieces that I am practicing in the moment or that I just want to keep. What I try to do is to get it right immediately. It's about concentration, and my teacher always said, like, if you do a wrong note, then you have to play 7 times. So he tells me just do it right immediately.
First time.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
such good advice. Just play right all the time. Like you don't need to practice. So you were doing détaché at a very moderate tempo, and then you started practicing the intonation, the patterns, right?
Yes, exactly. So especially in those bars with the when it's going high, for the intonation it's quite tricky. So I like to find out which chords are there. So you get to know better the position of the hands, and repeating this with the chords before doing it détaché. I find it helpful. When you practice slowly, you should not forget to sometimes try the real tempo, because practicing slowly, then you get to really know the notes and feel the position and all those things. At some point, you need to get also the feeling of how it is when you play fast.
And how does it work with your bow? Because you went at some point from
Oh yeah.
very, very stuck to the string to spiccato suddenly. Was that a way to practice the string crossing?
Yeah, but you know, the thing is that whenever there is a difficult passage, my teacher always says like there are three things to do: relax in the body, press with the bow, and vibrate. If there is a, let's say, a difficult shift, my tendency would be to lose contact, not vibrate, and tense. So you should actually do the opposite. So that's why maybe
Okay.
continued in the détaché. It was
Okay.
to insist on those high
Okay.
notes, and then it will eventually, hopefully, sound more natural than if you avoid it in your practice.
Wow.
Ooh.
That was that was that was incredibly effective practice, no? I mean,
Well, yeah, I mean, when I practice, I really try to clean everything.
yeah,
How many
it's-
did you play the piece before? Like how
No,
many?
no. Actually, this is new
But
because I have to prepare all the sonatas. I haven't played all of them, and I don't have much time, so that's why you need to be quite effective in the practice. Yeah, so those group like you see at bar 13,
yeah,
when they are like very fast thing, I like to know exactly what my hand is doing. The problem was the shift between the B and the E flat. To practice by like groups of notes, then your hand will know where to go. What I try to do is always to exaggerate everything in my practice. So, for
Yeah.
example, when it's written forte, I would try to play in full power, like 3/4. I was not doing that in my practice before, but I now try to use as much sound as I can. Even if you play with piano, the sound projection is very important. So I try to put it in my practice. And now I was just trying to practice the fifth intonation, which is really not my thing. And yeah, because all those chords, I mean, fifths and sixths, they have to be perfect. So
you know, it took me like 3 months to understand what it means, this number 3 and this number 5, when I was practicing the third sonata.
oh my God, I didn't even notice.
It's just a number of beats in the bar.
Okay.
Oh, you didn't know either.
Wow. Okay.
Me too. Me too. I was so perplexed. I was like, "What the fuck is that?" Like for ages,
I
and my teachers was like, "Are you idiot? It's just a number of beats in the bar." I was like, "Oh, that's true."
I didn't even notice there were numbers, so I don't know what is worse.
Look, you know what? As long as you can play the music,
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah,
fine.
but sometimes there are really interesting details around,
Yeah,
and yeah.
that's
Happy
true.
I can help. Happy I can.
Thanks.
When you played it slowly, what were you thinking of?
Well, I will try to get my chords in tune and also keep the contact with the string, because the danger is when you play chord and fast is to lose the contact, and then
Yeah.
you don't even hear the notes anymore.
When you were starting to play it again, like
Yes.
your hands really know what to play suddenly.
What helps me is just doing it slowly and really being conscious of the position of my hands and really feeling the strings, especially in the fifth. And also what I do in the chords, I try to vibrate them. It's like putting an intention, an attention on the note. It helps to get it under control, I would say. Even if, of course, in the final tempo, you won't have time to vibrate. But when you practice it with vibrato, it's like really taking care of these notes. Oh, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, I don't know if you noticed, but I did the wrong bowing
Yeah.
over and over. And this is because when I did it slowly, I did it wrong. So, of course, when I try in tempo, I just keep doing it wrong.
You're saying you should play right from the beginning, but at the same time, your philosophy is, if I got it right, like to always do something a bit more difficult.
When I was saying that, I was speaking more of the technical practice,
Yeah,
like
sure.
exercises, that it doesn't become like a boring routine. I hope I can always improve my technique.
Is it what you did when you were young,
Oh,
or not at all?
I,
You don't
I don't
remember?
know. Honestly, I really don't know. I think it definitely is important to learn pieces that are challenging, because when you learn new pieces more challenging than the previous one, you learn new techniques. I think everything goes together in the end.
Why did you start again?
There are moments where it's good to go back to what he actually wrote and just to make sure. I mean, just to make sure, because sometimes it's a ta 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 ta, and sometimes it's a bit shorter. In the first movement, he writes sometimes like double dots or one dot, and all those little details, I tend to forget them. So sometimes just, yeah, reminding me of the rhythm with the metronome is, yeah, is good. And here I try to be as, yeah, to play as legato as possible, and not to take too much time on the chords, because then you lose the melodic line. Oh my god, those fifths.
I just noticed something. It's weird. Like when you played it the first time, it's like when you play it, it
Yeah, it
sounds
was.
quite in tune, and you have a way with your bow in your sound and with how you're not moving your left hand to just be really honest in your practice. How do you
Yeah,
achieve
but
that?
yeah, it's really being aware of each note, not to just let them go. Like each note deserves attention, at least in the practice. And then, to me, in the concert, you can let it go, but not in your practice. Because in the practice, you should do exactly the opposite, like build everything with, as if you would build a house, you just need to put all the brick, the stones, and then everything between, and the painting, like every detail is really important in the practice.
You need to be very calm, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Can you relate the work you do? Like you said, you do a lot of yoga,
Yeah.
and yoga involves a lot of breathing as well. And
Yes.
being calm involves a lot of breathing as well. Do you find similar things in yoga and in that
Oh,
mode of practice?
definitely. Actually, yoga really changed my perspective and really helped me in my violin playing, or how to deal with nerves, like generally how to be fully present. Yoga is really about being in the moment,
Yeah.
and like it's really letting go of the judgment. And when you, I mean, I notice like when I play, I have a lot of judgments going.
Like a constant feed.
Yeah, like, oh, that's ugly, or that's really, oh, you play like shit, or and yoga is really about, even if it's there, just accepting it and just observing it, trying
So,
to trust my physical sensations.
so what do you focus on then?
So sometimes what I do is like when there is a scary passage coming up, and I start to hear this little voice like, oh, be careful, something scary is coming.
Yeah.
Well, now what I try to do is feel my feet, you know?
Okay.
It's like really focusing on being grounded, and paying attention more to my body. Oh yeah, this shift. So I was just practicing this shift, trying to always get on the right note. The higher octave just come is the next note. So it was to train my hand to arrive directly in the good position. Maybe I didn't do it enough, but it's good to go maybe one bar before and then to do it again, because sometimes you get used to
Mm.
do only the four note before and it works, but then you do two bars before and then it doesn't work anymore.
Sylvia, you should show like just this little passage where it's like so clear in terms of practicing. You should show that to your students.
That's what is really interesting is that you're not gonna do any unfocused practice. So you're gonna stop when you're not, right?
Yeah, so I prefer it to be really short, like even 20 minutes, but fully focused. Yeah, I prefer to do like small blocks. And also what I do is I just put my phone away. I just turn it off. No, but really, because this is terrible. All those distractions, it kills my concentration, really. So either I go in a place where there is no internet, or I just turn off my phone and put it in another room. But it definitely makes a difference when I don't have it around.
How many times do you play through before a concert?
Of course, ideally, you need to play a piece a few times before feeling a bit comfortable.
How much
Mm.
run-through did you do for your competition last year?
I I did quite a lot of, I mean, a few, maybe 3, 4 run through for the like first round, or I would mix first and second round. But like for my final concerto, I didn't have the opportunity or the time to do a real tryout. Like I just asked one pianist to play through with me, but that was clearly not enough.
Did you expect to go in final
Of
before?
course not. I didn't even expect to pass one round or even to be selected. So to play a concerto from the beginning to the end and feeling okay with it, it's such a big work. And I would recommend to do as many tryouts as possible.
When you're saying try, you mean run-throughs? Yes.
Yeah, but
Yeah. Okay.
for me, a tryout is like a fake concert. So you
Fake
just
concert. Yeah.
ask one friend of
Yeah.
Whoever, who can listen to you.
How was that competition in those terms? Like, was it
Oh,
was the vibe stressful? How's the atmosphere?
it's such a big deal in Belgium. It's like a television show for 1 month, and even non-musicians know about it because it's on all the media, and it can become really overwhelming. Like
Mm.
at some point, I felt pressure, and
Pressured, yeah.
yeah, and even like 3 weeks before the start of the competition, I got some emails from newspaper that wanted to come to Amsterdam to interview me. And I was like, oh my God, what is this? I mean, it's already starting. For me, the biggest challenge of this competition was to get the right mindset to be able to survive.
Yeah.
Think of it as a positive thing, not as, of course, it's scary and it's stressful, but to focus more on the nice things. Like, yeah, it's a great experience, and I don't know, you get to play in a great hall, and
Yeah.
and you get to play nice pieces. That it can
Yeah.
sound stupid, but if you just try to focus on those
Yeah.
things instead of focusing on the fact that it's super scary, sometimes you need to put things in perspective. And
Yeah.
just by thinking that, it made me more relaxed. I was genuinely happy to be there and grateful.